Hey, welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about the Cupertino widgets that Flutter provides us for beautifying our UI, that is, our user interface. The Cupertino widgets are all the iOS style widgets that we can implement in both our Android as well as iOS. There are various types of Cupertino widgets, so we will study 3 to 4 Cupertino widgets in our current tutorial. Here I have some boilerplate code which throws this application which have a scaffold, app bar and a floating action button. So let's study about the Cupertino widget of model popup. To implement a model popup, we need a function for holding all the code into the model popup so that we can implement the model popup again and again without writing some more code. Now with the help of function, we can implement more actions on single code, so we can write here container for model popup. Now this container for model popup will take an iterable class of t. Now this iterable class t will return lazy iterable with elements that are created by calling a function on each list. So this container for model popup will take arguments of build context, that are context, as well as a widget of child. Now it will return model popup, so you can write Cupertino model popup, which will be needed a context as well as a builder. So you can provide a context of this current class, that is of the home page, and a builder by creating a new context of build context, which will implement a new child to it, which we have provided in this argument, that is of widget child. Now after completing this iteration, it will ask some function to it, that is after completing this function, so you can write here on then void. Now this iterable class will take some value for it, so you can provide it a value of say method. Now you can provide any of your widget on this Cupertino model popup, which will be implemented after closing the model popup. So you can just provide a snack bar to this. A snack bar is just a small bottom sheet which will be appeared from the bottom just to notify user about the current state. So you can just write a scaffold of the context. It will show a snack bar. Now this snack bar will take a parameter of new snack bar, which will take a content. So for current time, let's give it a content null, as well as a duration of duration, say milliseconds of 800 milliseconds, and I can just forward document once. Okay, it needs a semicolon here. Press Ctrl and S, format document once. Now we have completed our functions, so we can implement it on this floating action button. So you can just hover down here and write here container for a model popup will take a context as well as child, this widget child. So we can just provide a child of Cupertino action sheet. Now it will take a title of say text, which says hey user, as well as a message, that a message we need to provide to the user. So we can write here, do you really want to exit the application, that is app. So just format the document once. Now it will also take some action, so you can provide some action to it. So you can provide action to its by Cupertino action sheet action, which will take a child offset text saying yes. Let's give it some styling of text style with a color of red. It will take a onPress method. Before that, give it a bracket here, remove this O, and onPressed, let's have exiting through the current context. So you can write a navigator.pop and forward document once. Let's provide again one more action to it saying no. So you can just copy this, paste it here saying no with some positive color, say blue accent. Press Ctrl and S. Now we have implemented our container for model popup on this button. So after pressing it, you can see I will get a sheet from bottom, which will be a model popup saying a title of text as well as a message, providing with two optional buttons, that is yes or no. So you can just click on any one of these and it will be exited from this current context. So this was a model popup. Now the second one is a dialog box, which are also mostly used in the Cupertino widgets. So I can just create another function here. I can write here container for dialog box which will return a show Cupertino dialog, which will take a context as well as a builder. Same. So you can just write your context and a new build context to it of argument of context, and it will return a Cupertino alert dialog. Here you can provide actions as well, and also it will take a title, say text saying exit the app. So you can provide here some actions. Give it a semicolon here. Now you can provide some actions to it, say a flat button of the icon style, that is it will throw some boilerplate arguments that are of onPressed icon as well as label. So let's give it an onPressed method of popping its current context. You know how, by just typing navigator.pop the context. It will take an icon. Let's give it an icon of say our Java icons package, say options, and a label saying yes. Formatted document once. Now you can also provide one more option to it. Just copy this, give it a trailing comma here, and say no. Now our function is completed. So you can just write here return. Now our function is completed. Now let's implement it on new button. So let's create a new button here. Press Ctrl and S. Now here's an option appeared, so I can just format document once. Now if I just pressed on this button, I will receive a dialog box that is of exiting the app. So you can also provide some more options to it. For this current context, I have implemented two options out of yes. So if I just click on here, it will exit the current context. Now you can observe that if I click on the background, nothing will happen because it is a dialog box. And in the case of sheet, if I press on any other side except than this sheet, exit is current context. That is, this sheet is of the iterable list, that is of this T, which can be exited on anywhere. That is, it will throw a snack bar which have a content null for a duration of 800 microseconds. Now the third one is a context menu. A context menu is very helpful for creating some beautiful UI in a short code. So beside this button, you can just write here a size box, say of height 500 as well as width of 400. Give it a comma here. Now it will have a child. Say Cupertino context menu. Let's give it a text saying social plugins. Let's give it some style of our text style, with some font family, and say color, a black color. Format the document once, exit the text style. So, and now you can give it some actions. So the actions can be context menu action, which will take a child offset text. Let's give it some social media plugins to it. Let's give it a Facebook, and on press method is going to do nothing. Now you can just copy this, paste it as many times you want, and I can just type here Twitter and say Instagram and a Reddit. Now if I hover over it and give it a hard press, now you can see here a context menu is appeared. That is a context menu of a text and option provided to it. Now you can see that within a short code, a beautiful UI is created for our Android application with the help of Cupertino widgets. So this one was context menu. You can implement it for a same, that is for implementing social plugins for displaying user about your application. This was small tidbit. Now the final one, which is the mostly used, is a slider, that is a Cupertino style slider. So just exit the size box, come down. So now you can implement a slider here. So Cupertino slider. Now the Cupertino slider will take a value of double. So you can just declare a value here, say double, counter slider is equal to 0. So you can come down and write here counter slider. Now on changed, it will take variable, say let's say changed value, and you can implement some of the functions for on changing the value of say the slider. So you can create a state. So you can just write here counter slider is equal to changed value dot round to double, that is shifting the values from this change value to this counter slider. If I press Ctrl and S, you can see this slider is here, and you can provide it a minimum value of say 0 and a max value of say 100. Ctrl and S. Now you can see a slider is here. So now let's play with this slider. So let's change the color of the slider when the value of the slider will be greater than 50. So I can write here if the value of counter slider is greater than equal to 50, it will receive some functions to it. So we can just write state a boolean, say change state, that is changed to true. Now we don't have a boolean here, so you can just copy this name from here, go up, and below this R double you can just implement it blue is changed is equal to false. Okay, so take this value from here, and for changing the color of this floating action button, come down to this color, and you can provide some if else condition to here as well. So I can just write here if the value of is change is true, then the color of the floating action button will be blue accent, else it will return a colors of red accent. So if I just press format document, and if I increase the value of it, you can see that it is changed. So these were some of the Cupertino widgets that we can use in our further demonstrations as well as some real projects which are used for creating some beautiful user interfaces. So I will see you in the next one. Till then, practice it once. All you need is some builder as well as a context for each and every containers, that are by declaring some methods you can implement all the Cupertino widgets in a quick way. So till then, goodbye, have a good day.